here we go. If you're in the chat and if you want to place your bets on who you think is going to be the first finalist for this week's KSL, then you can do so. You can do so. As predictions are open for the next minute or so. So not too long, not too long. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing CranKy Gaming. It is herO. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. We go. And we have casted quite a lot of herO versus ByuN in the past, and they did face off most recently, I want to say in ESL Open Cup Asia, where herO did come out on top. That is what led to the eventual PvP finals of ESL Open Cup Asia, which was herO versus Classic. So we'll see if ByuN can bounce back. We'll see if he can get his revenge. We'll see if he can redeem himself after what happened last week. We'll see. Again, they are some of the best players in the world, not just in Korea. And they do go back and forth. As a result. We do see ByuN going for an economic opener, going for a rack expand with that one gas. Likewise, herO just going to be trying to be as annoying as possible, trying to delay that CC as long as he can, as he is going to be shoot away. And he sets up his own gate expand back at home as well. And yeah, I'm really curious to see what he goes for. Again, we've been casting a lot of TvPs recently, and we've been seeing a lot of standard play, a lot of 2-gate openers into a third. But herO can be a little bit more aggressive in nature. Is going to be hiding that probe, is going to be keeping it safe from that Reaper. With it, he can try and go for, say, even a proxy Stargate. For now, just going to keep it hidden in the top right-hand corner of the map. Stargate is thrown down, but back at home instead. We have the beginnings of Phoenix Colossus. Let's go. Beautiful. As the probe is going to be able to dive back in. Try to get a read on what is going on. As he dips forward, does confirm the bunker that has been thrown down. And ByuN is going for a 1-1-1. No 3 racks or 2-1-1 variations. Ooh, very nicely done here as ByuN does knock himself over the wall. Bust into the main base, is gonna get shut down eventually by these adepts, but does at least confirm the tech. I mean, I say confirm the tech. He did get behind the mineral line, but alas, did not see whether there was a Twilight Council or Stargate, as it was thrown down at the natural instead. So ByuN is actually still in the dark. For now. There we go. He was in the dark, then he just dives into the natural, gets confirmation of not just the Stargate, but also the Oracle coming out. No Phoenixes, we'd love to see it. Is going to be Stargate into Twilight Council for herO. Ooh, as he does have a proxy pylon out on the map, throws down a proxy gateway as well. Let's go. So we have 3 gates back at home, we have a 4th gate out on the map. This is looking to be very aggressive here out of herO. We don't really get to see too often. 4 gates blink off of an Oracle opener. He's crazy. And this can work well, especially considering that ByuN, upon seeing the Stargate opener, he's getting ready to... I mean, he's cutting corners. We don't have any tanks, no tank production whatsoever. That is going to be confirmed by the hallucination. We only have Marines, Cyclones. Getting ready to defend against Oracles and Phoenixes. Little does ByuN know that we have Blink Stalkers on the way. Like, he is not ready for this whatsoever. Raven is moving out. We are at least working on Marauders, and that will help. But we only have the 1 bunker. Okay, here he's expanding. Okay, despite him going for 4-gate blink, he is expanding behind this. He's not going to be as aggressive. There's no... I also just realized there's no robo, so it's going to be difficult to reinforce. He does have a proxy pylon and a gateway, sure, but... still... gonna take a little bit longer here to get things going. This hero does have high ground vision. He does spot that at least at depot. As the Raven comes in and is going to get quite a lot of damage done here. 4 probes and lost mining time. Meanwhile, herO, he dives on forward. He's looking to snipe some of these tech labs. He will deny combat shields. Not blink, but at least combat shields. So far, the ByuN army is able to push away the Stalkers. Oh, even gets a Stalker. At the same time, a couple of adepts did shade into the natural as well. herO, he is getting damage done. He's rotating over towards the natural, but ByuN is keeping up. There's at least a bunker to work with. The bunker is going to go down. Oof. Rough movement by ByuN. He also loses the Raven. Very high value pickoff. Again, I don't expect herO to snowball into a win from here. Like, he's still saturating and taking his 3rd base. But he's doing a lot to just keep ByuN at bay. Denying upgrades. Sniping key units. Oh, that was a rough blink. And herO, he may lose some Stalkers as a result. Was a bit of a hefty loss for herO. Same time, he does rotate on over and gets another 3 SCVs. Just keeping a ByuN contained. Back at home, we're working on more gateways. We have charge on the way, a forge for +1. So a very gateway heavy composition here from herO. He's not transitioning into Colossus or disruptors. And again, these blinks have been on point. I say that herO, he's bleeding out a lot of Stalkers. I think that was 3 Stalkers that went down. Yeah, as another Stalker goes down in the retreat. That Oracle flying too close to the sun also gets picked off. ByuN working on his 3rd CC. He's not going for a 2-base all-in, despite being contained and despite, you know, being slowed down. Does want to macro out of this. But for the most part, herO has the map control. There's that +1 we were talking about. We have a robo on the way, eventually to work towards splash damage of some kind. Does feel like herO is playing with fire though. Speaking of, another Stalker at every turn, whenever they engage, ByuN is able to pick off a Stalker here or there. Once again. So herO just a little bit careless with his Stalker micro, which is something that I rarely say, or that we rarely see. As another Stalker goes down, another 2 even. ByuN is being pulled out of position though, and he may have to be forced into a counterattack as we have a lot of Zealots getting ready on the left hand side. ByuN though, he does pull back. We do see herO just trying to distract him. Taking down a couple of depots, a couple of SCVs, does pull some of the army over to the right hand side, but I think herO wants more than that. As ByuN is still in position. Ghosts are on the way for EMPs. Okay, we have a Tri-Prone attack. We have Stalkers from the right. We have a Prism coming into the main. And we have the main army threatening the 3rd. Oof. Here we go, a massive warping into the main base. We are forcing a big drop into said main. And do we have enough to hold on to the 3rd? Oh, it's hard to say. Big EMPs on those Zealots. Oh my god, a massive mine shots as well. The Stalkers, it looks like ByuN is going to be able to hold on. He cleans up the army, not without losing a lot of SCVs. 18 SCVs go down, but ByuN has an insane army at this point. Again, I think herO was just a little bit too wasteful. And this is snowballing out of control. There's nothing left. We're down to 5 Zealots. And they are going to distract ByuN for a second. But he can focus on his attack. And again, there's no Colossus, no Disruptors. There's nothing. There's just nothing left. Stalkers, they build up over time. GG gets called, and ByuN will take game number 1. GG. Okay, it did feel like a strong start. It felt like a strong start for herO, going for those Stalkers, denying upgrades. But it did feel like it just slipped through his fingers over time. He was just maybe a little bit too wasteful, or just wasn't trading efficiently enough with his army. He did get his third up and running, and he was setting up for this like big, like tri-pronged assault. But ByuN, he dealt with it very nicely. Very impressive. Very impressive. As ByuN does take game number 1. And we are diving into game 2. Let's go. Meanwhile, we were getting some updates from Dark, and I believe he's still mid-series against Australia. I think they're getting into either Game 2 or Game 3. Which means we should be able to cast the upper semis. Oh, the Starcraft. Oh, the Starcraft. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing CranKy Gaming down in the series 1-0. It is herO. 1 game away from being eliminated from the KSL and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. We have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Catching up with the chat. All in on here. Hello, Tiki. Hello. Chat says Zertrol in the chat. Old man ByuN already has 1. He's not even that old. What are you talking about? ByuN, he's like 26. How old is he? Let's double check. Oh, never mind. He's 30? Oh my god, we're all so old. We're all so old, Bobby. Nah, but he's still, look, he's still in the prime of his life, okay? It's beautiful. He's amazing. Unstoppable. Let's go. Yeah, it's crazy to it's crazy to think when like I remember when like Maru was a teenager. I remember when like herO was, you know, 22. Like it's been so many years that a lot of these players have been competing. It's really cool. There aren't too many. I don't think there are too many esports that are like that much like historical like stories like behind a lot of these players. Obviously, because StarCraft has been around the longest, but yeah, crazy to think about. I think one of the other things that is like also puts things into perspective. I guess I'm waiting for them to have kids. Really, it's like Jim Rising. You know, he's got a child now. Like he's a dad, and I wouldn't be surprised if that starts happening to more pro gamers. Like Solar, herO, and Dark. They're all married, for example. Like they're all married. They all have families. I say families. Like they don't have kids, but you know, maybe one day. And that's just it's just like puts things into perspective, you know? It's like, oh my god, like how much time has passed? I remember when they were teenagers, and now, you know, they've come and gone to the military, had weddings, all that good stuff. Crazy. As enough reminiscing, we're getting back into our game. Do you see herO going for a Twilight Council opener this time, going for Blink, and setting up his second gateway here at his natural. Of course, ByuN is going to confirm that he did go for an economic opener himself, already has a CC on the low ground, and is setting up for his 2-1-1, or a 1-1-1 opener into his additional Raxes, setting up for, I imagine, a Mind Drop. There we go. Do you have that Widow Mine on the way alongside the Medevac? Pro gaming is paying for those families. I mean, yeah, obviously. Like, it's just crazy. Crazy to think about. Time passes. We're gonna get the next generation. Like, we already have the next generation of pro gamers with, like, kids like Eva and Night Phoenix. Like, again, teenagers playing StarCraft. Literally half the age of some of these other old school pro gamers, which is crazy, right? Eva is less than half the age of ByuN. Eva's 14. That's crazy. ByuN has 2 Evas inside him. More than 2. As he's going for the Mind Drop into the natural. Setting up for it anyway. We do have a third base on the way. Again, it was a very economic opener here out of herO, going for a 2-gate Blink into that third, as opposed to the previous game. So this is very economic, less aggressive. DRG has like 4 even. That's not even true. Este Emperor Fubel. There are people in the chat that whenever DRG plays, he's like, oh, the old man is coming out. He's like 34. He's like 4 years older than ByuN. What are you talking about? Ay. DRG, he's so young. So beautiful. He's 32. He's 2 years older than ByuN. Ay. As for the most part, things have been pretty mellow so far. Things haven't really been too chaotic. We do have the Mind Drop that never was committed to. It's still here in the top left. ByuN just waiting for the opportune moment before he dives in with that Widow Mind Drop. You know, back at home, he's just setting up on 2 bases. We have our 3-1-1 setup, as to be expected. ByuN taking a very defensive position here back at home. Likewise, herO also being very defensive, working towards Storm. That's going to be a splash damage of choice. Unlike the previous game, herO actually will have some splash damage available. It is really risky. It's really risky to not go for Colossi just because Storms are energy-based units and High Templar are very vulnerable. So hero's going to have to be careful. Storm is about to finish though, and we do have how many High Templar? 4 High Templar available. Each, soon to have 1 Storm each. Oh boy. As ByuN can get within range of that Cybercore, goes for the scan. It confirms that there is no 3rd base here, or even 4th. But he's going to sneak up on the Cybercore, on the gateway, and he should be able to bring these down. At the same time, the Mind Drop does come in. 2 probes go down, only 2 workers, but big storms! Oh my god! Insane storms onto the ByuN army, and herO, he's just going to completely shut this down. Especially with that final storm, just cleaning up whatever was left from the Terran. And now ByuN's in a really rough position. He got 2 probes with the Mind Drop. He's going to get a couple more workers here with the Raven Harass. But ByuN just plummets in the army supply. herO, he knows he has momentum going his way. He has a Prism to counterattack. He has Archons, Immortals. There's no tanks. The bunker goes down, and the natural base is going to be forfeit. ByuN is going to try to hold on, but another massive storm! On the army, on the workers. Oof. A couple of big mines go off on the Stalkers at least, but again, there's just too much Protoss and not enough Terran. ByuN was working on his third, but it's a little bit too little too late for that. The Raven comes back home, but there's nothing he can do. GG gets called, and herO ties up the series 1-1. In a game that escalated very quickly. Everything was chill, everything was cool, calm, and collected. You know, everyone was, we were working towards our third bases. Then ByuN committed to an attack, but Storm was done just in time for it. And everything snowballed out of control in favor of herO. And now we have an ace match. Now we have a game 3. Let's have the Artosis arguments about old people can move as quickly as teenager gamers. That's interesting. I say that's interesting because I do know that players like Maru and herO and Dark as well, they are slower than how they once were. But they're aware of that, and they adapt and they change the way that they play to accommodate for that as well. So yeah, they're able to keep up, even be faster at times. Meanwhile, here we go. We're diving into the ace match. Spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss, representing Dragon Z Gaming. Tying up the series 1-1 in the last game, it is herO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. We go. And it's pretty interesting. We're loading into Altitude, the largest map in the map pool. Just because it's large doesn't mean it has to lead towards macro games. It can, don't get me wrong. But I think we are all aware that both ByuN and herO, they're pretty aggressive players. Like, they're not really one to go for the late game. As much as I say that, herO does do that against Zerg, to be fair. we have seen a lot of sky toss from herO against Zerg. But in this matchup, less so. In this matchup, I do feel like we are going for timings. We want to go for at least drop play. At least ByuN does. Sometimes it works against him, but even against Colossus-based compositions, even against Stargate openers with Phoenixes, ByuN is willing to just go for these drop-heavy styles, be very active, try to pull apart his opponent, and win in that manner instead. We'll see if that's going to be the case. If there were a map to go Phoenix Colossus on, I feel like it would be Altitude for herO. He has been avoiding that so far this series. If you remember, Game 1, he went Stargate Oracle Opener into 4-gate Blink Stalker. Game 2, 2-gate Opener into a fast third into Storm. We'll see if he goes for another Twilight Council or if he goes for a Stargate first instead. Meanwhile, across the map, ByuN did go for an Economic Opener. Rax Expand, only a single Gas Geyser, for a faster natural base. Again, it makes sense on Altitude. You know, it's not likely that your opponent's going to be too aggressive. You may as well just take advantage of your economy when you can. As ByuN gets into his 1-1-1. Meanwhile, herO back at home is not going for a Stargate, even though I would say that Altitude is not a bad map for Phoenixes at all. Is going for a Twilight Council instead. Okay. So looking to be a Blink Stalker opener from herO, just like the previous game. Now we'll see how many gateways are thrown down. If you remember, last game we had a we had a Stalker opener out of herO, but he only went for a 2-gate opener into a fast third, and it looks like that's what we're going to be seeing here as well. We have 2 gateways. We have a Robo being thrown down as well. Oh, never mind. There is that 3rd gateway, so herO going to be a little bit more aggressive than the previous game. That 3rd gateway is going to have that much more warp-in potential. Not all in, of course, just a little bit more assertive is what I should say. And this still leads into a 3rd. This still leads into a 3rd base. just a little bit later. As hero's doing the best he can to try to scout its opponents, it just gets eyes on the ByuN army, not too much else from there, as ByuN is going for a Raven first. Interesting. He didn't go for any Widowmine production, he's going for his second Rax. Yeah, ByuN starting tank production very early on instead. Oh, my apologies. Did begin with that mine, and actually really similar to the last game. Not just in build, but also in execution. If you remember, last game, ByuN, he did open up with a Widowmine into... Sorry, a medevac and 2 Widowmines, but he didn't actually go for the drop initially, and he's doing the same thing. He's just hiding in the top left-hand corner of the map. And hero's chasing him. His observer is following the medevac and is, yeah, gonna get eyes on it, gonna keep eyes on it. So really interesting that ByuN has done this 2 games in a row. We saw in the previous game it didn't really work out, and he's gonna have a hard time executing this as well, just because herO is parking an observer on top of that job. Interesting. As herO is taking his 3rd base, we have a couple more gateways on the way. Charge as well. So just, once again, a very heavy gateway composition here from herO. He's being active with his Stalkers. We were talking about his 3-gate opener, and as a result, he does have a presence on the map. But he's going to be recalled back home due to that Raven. At the same time, the drop tries to go in, but herO is going to keep it pinned back. And yeah, so far here, he's done a great job of just deflecting the aggression of ByuN. I see the aggression, you know, the harassment of ByuN, really. Whether it's the Raven, whether it's the drop. Something that we are lacking is vision in the center of the map. The first observer, because it's parked over the Widowmine, there's nothing really here to scout any move out, other than this probe. So herO does have to be careful. Once again, Storm is on the way. herO at least has control of the Xel'Nagas. The edges of the map. And here we go, as ByuN moves out, herO is moving in. Very, very fortuitous moment here for herO. Fortunate, that's it. He gets a couple of SCVs. 2 SCVs in total because of the Xel'Naga. herO, he's aware of the army. Storm is still a ways off. Uh-oh. One High Templar does get sniped. The other barely does survive. We're 3 seconds away. Okay, we're good. herO does hold on. Storm has completed, and this time ByuN is going to respect it. He sees all High Templar. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to back off. I'm good. The Xel'Naga also distracts ByuN for a moment as well, brings everything back. And herO is looking to chase ByuN down. How many High Templar? We have 3 High Templar with the main army, 1 Storm each. Tanks have siege. We dive on them immediately. Both tanks will go down. A big anti-armor missile onto the Stalkers, but the Storms arrive. Because of the disables, because of the spells, it looks like herO is going to have to back off for a moment. He had an efficient fight though, especially upon getting both of those tanks and the Raven. Still has 2 more Storms available. As I say that, one of the High Templar was sniped, and herO is gonna back off. Behind this, herO is just saturating his 3rd. Immortal production on the way, +1 as well. Ooh. Another Storm is going to zone back the army. Oh, the Ghost is going to survive. And ByuN fighting his heart out just to get his third base up and running. Oh, do we get the EMP? Up, do we get the storm? Looks like we do connect with a massive EMP on the army. But I think we still have one storm available. There we go, it's used to zone ByuN back. With the death of that prism, we may want to back off, but no, herO, he's gonna commit. I mean, this army is very battered, it's very bruised. herO, though, gonna back off again. He doesn't have a storm available. I don't know if this is the best fight for him to take. If he had one more storm, he could take this fight, but alas, he's gonna lose everything. ByuN sims on 4, takes down the Immortals. herO is not stopping, though. I mean, oh, as he takes some mines to the face. It is a large map, so it takes a long time to counterattack. herO wants to gain as much value out of this army as he can. But that was an expensive loss for herO. And ByuN gets his third up and running. He did lose, I want to say 14 SCVs, but hey, the base is up. It's getting saturated. So the Rumbai doesn't do anything, and I don't think herO can take this fourth. High Templar goes down, a fourth, it's going to be cancelled. herO's going to try to fight for this, but this is not a fight he can take. A big storm. Does connect, but we need more than that. Yeah, as ByuN is going to force a cancel. herO has to back off, just building up his disruptors. A really risky move to skip Colossus and go straight for the disruptors. It does mean he has less consistent splash damage. He has to rely so much on these Novas connecting. First Nova, not good enough. Disruptor gets focused down. We have 2 more Purification Novas available, and it looks like they will not connect. And that may just be it. Great target firing coming out from ByuN. He takes down every single disruptor. The Immortal, the shield battery. The Immortal at least. Yeah, and again, herO, he lost too much earlier. GG gets pulled. ByuN will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN. herO definitely had his moments this series, and even in this game, he had some pretty good fights, but he clearly did overextend after he lost his Warp Prism. If you remember, I was really shocked. I was like, okay, he lost the Prism. He's probably going to back off. He can't reinforce, but no, he committed to a fight that ended in him losing all of his High Templar. He lost all of his Immortals. It was a very, very rough fight for herO to commit to. And again, it was herO that committed to that engagement. I believe that he thought that he could take it. Alas, he only had one storm at the time. And herO is eliminated from this week's KSL. ByuN gets his revenge. I said this earlier, but herO did, I want to say he brought down ByuN in ESL Urban Cup Asia. Let me just double check. I remember someone brought him down. Was it Classic? See here. It was ESL Cup Asia number 185. Yeah, herO brought down ByuN in a best of 5, 3-1, 3-1. So why am I looking at 85? That's years ago. It's been so many. 88. So yeah, herO did take down ByuN 2-0 a couple of days ago in the previous ESL Open Cup Asia, so at least ByuN is able to get his revenge and bring down herO this time in KSL.